Hey, what's up, my woods people? I'm Tyler Jones, and this is the Backcountry mini-series from the Element Podcast. Casey, fill them in.
Since we are diving headfirst into the backcountry hunting this season, we decided to call in some help and talk to some experts that know how to crush it in the backcountry.
So make sure and subscribe, and if this is helpful, we'd love for you guys to give us a 5-star rating and an iTunes review.
Absolutely. Now let's get into it because I still have a lot of Mountain House flavors to try before September gets here. Okay, so on the show today, we've got Pete Muennich with Stone Glacier and the Goat Alliance. Pete, what's up, dude?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
It's going good. We just got our fill of traditional Mexican food for the day, so feeling right. It's lunchtime here, and man, that's what we call backcountry fuel around here. Just some good old beans and rice with some Mexican food.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it's good stuff, man. So, Pete, as you know, we've talked about it a little bit. We've got a big-time backcountry hunt coming up this season. We're pretty inexperienced with this stuff, and we're trying to talk to people that we know from personal acquaintances or people that we see go hard on social media. Well, not actually hard on social media, but go hard and put it on social media in the backcountry and get it done. And you're one of those guys, man. Where exactly did you get your start going in the backcountry and doing all this crazy stuff?
Yeah, I live in Bozeman, Montana. I've been here for 12 years, but I moved here in 2007 to go to college, and that's when I really started cutting my teeth, putting a backpack on, and chasing elk. That's evolved into a lot of different things that I like doing now, from hunting sheep and goats to mountain lion hunting. But I think it all probably started, making that switch from being a whitetail hunter and a turkey hunter to a backpack hunter was probably in my college years, starting in 2007 when I moved to Montana.
Yeah, that's cool. So you kind of made the same transition that we are working on. I mean, we'll never transition from the whitetail or turkey stuff, but,
right.
You kind of can relate to some of the struggles that we're dealing with as far as like trying to figure out this whole like living off your back kind of thing and
oh, yeah.
Understanding that what you're toting around in your backpack is what you have to survive on. So when was your first like true like overnighter backpack kind of thing?
Yeah, I started chasing elk with buddies probably, my sophomore year of college. Started doing overnights. Pretty simple stuff, not straying too far from trailheads, but, making an effort to stay overnight in areas that we thought we could kill elk in.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I started to dip my toes into it. And this is before I owned, I started with not the best gear, not the best boots, not the best backpack, but you work with what you got, and through the years kind of dial your gear list, and things get a little easier and more comfortable as you gain experience.
And money.
But, yeah, let the things, nice gear costs money. That's a reality. But I think in 2011, I drew a mountain goat permit here in Montana.
Man.
And that's when I went all in as far as mountaineer style hunting and extended trips at higher elevation and stuff like that. And I just got absolutely addicted to it.
Yeah.
So I try to do that as much as possible now.
So we've been talking about backpack hunting some, and you just used a new term to me, and that's mountaineering style hunting. Those differentiate there? Is that just like a more extreme form of it, or what is that?
Yeah, I guess what I'm referring to when I talk about that is sheep and goat hunting, stuff that's taking you above the alpine, maybe often into more dangerous technical terrain that your average deer or elk hunt might not get you into. But,
gotcha.
Yeah, that's where I like it the most.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Is that instance kind of how you ended up at Stone Glacier there?
Yeah, it's a funny chain of events. I kind of joke that hunting that mountain goat in 2011 changed my life, and I'll try to tell this story quickly. But I killed the mountain goat, and then for a short time after that, I actually moved to Puerto Rico.
Oh, wow.
I lived in after I graduated college. I stuck around for a hunting season, then I hightailed it to Puerto Rico for about half a year.
Did you lose your residency when you did that?
I did, yeah.
Oh,
no.
Well, I came back and got it back.
Okay, good.
But anyways, I came back from Puerto Rico. I was homeless. I was living on a buddy's couch. I was 22 years old, and my mountain goat was finished at the taxidermist, and I had nowhere to put it. So I called a popular downtown store in Bozeman called Schnee's, local boot company.
Yeah.
And they've got great taxidermy in their store. And I said, hey, I got this mountain goat. It's coming back from the taxidermy. It's all finished. It's a local goat. It was shot just outside of Bozeman. There's a magazine article coming out about it. Can you please house it for me? I kind of tried to pitch it to them. And they said, absolutely. So I ended up putting that mountain goat in the front window of Schnee's in downtown Bozeman because I had nowhere else for it. And through that experience, I met the owner of Schnee's, John Edwards, who was kind enough to offer me my first professional job, which was working with the marketing and sales teams at Schnee's. In my tenure at Schnee's, I was fortunate enough to meet a guy named Kurt Roscoe, who was a backpack designer here in Bozeman, thinking about launching a brand called Stone Glacier. And so we at Schnee's became the exclusive retailer for Stone Glacier backpacks for the first year and a half, 2 years of the brand's existence. So about a year and a half, 2 years into it, I was working with Kurt on the side, building backpacks at night after work and in my garage and stuff. And there was some momentum to it. So I left my job at Schnee's, came on full-time at Stone Glacier, and we've been at it ever since.
Cool.
That's awesome.
That's bad at the bone, dude. And
so it all comes back to shooting that damn mountain goat and not having anywhere to put him.
It's the American dream, dude. That's it.
The American dream is just to get a goat tag, much less help it find you a career, you know. But that's cool, man. I would imagine that now the pack you're using is much better than the pack you used when you packed the mountain goat out. Is that correct?
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with that statement. Yeah, I'm pretty lucky to use the gear we got right now.
Yeah, that's cool, man. So while we're on packs, you know, let's just make a real general broad question here and see what you do with it. What makes a good pack?
Well, you got to be comfortable and it's got to be lightweight. Those are the two things I'm going for. So, yeah, you know, being comfortable on extended hunts is just an absolute necessity. And then having the functionality of a pack that's designed to carry extreme heavy loads off the mountain, you know, whether it's an elk quarter or a sheep cape. A lot of these hunts, there's no two trips, you know, like you're so far in the backcountry that everything's got to come out in one swoop. So, having the functionality of an expandable load shelf and the ability to haul out more than you came in with is really important.
Okay, so tell us. I do kind of know what a load shelf is, but for the listener that might not understand that, can you explain that a little bit?
Sure. So there's internally framed backpacks and externally framed backpacks, and some people would consider a Stone Glacier a bit of a hybrid.
Okay,
that's where the bag is mounted onto an external frame, but it has the ability to separate away from that frame and create a space between the frame and the bag where you would carry your heaviest item, which is often a big bag of meat. So what you've achieved by using a load shelf is you're keeping the heaviest part of your load closest to your center of gravity, minimizing the lateral forces pulling you around. And you also didn't sacrifice the internal volume of your bag with bloody meat to get that stuff out of there.
Gotcha.
Kind of achieving two things at once.
Cool. So I watched a video on social media the other day of y'all kind of explaining this. Somebody there killed a bear, and y'all were kind of showing how to do it, and it was pretty cool, man. I kind of like the modular way the Stone Glacier pack kind of wraps things up or whatever. Is it an essential thing to have that like bottom shelf? I guess you would call it like the true shelf part of it would be like the thing on the bottom that kind of holds everything up. Or is there a way where like a pack can just have a frame and then you just strap on like the pack part as the meat is like tied to the frame?
Yeah, so Stone Glacier packs are designed around the load shelf itself is a panel of X-Pack fabric that kind of almost describe it as like a kangaroo pouch or something in there. That once the bag separates away, you can loosen it up and it catches that elk quarter or that bag of meat. But there, you know, you might be envisioning old school style frames, like big aluminum rectangles on people's backs with a metal shelf at the bottom.
Yeah. I've got one of
the
those.
original load. That's the original load shelf. Those things are designed for just hauling those big loads off the mountain.
Yeah.
But for a backpack style hunter who needs to keep his gear and clothing and food with him, having the bag in front of the load keeps everything with you.
Yeah, yeah, cool. So
speaking of bears, you sent me an email the other day and we're like, hey, dude, we need to move this interview because I found a big bear last night. and I was like, dude, I can't be mad at all. Casey was like, at least this guy is a real deal, like he's hunting. He's not just a sales guy that sits in the office all day,
No, let's just say I still have my bear tag. So
no.
The story is, but we're pretty proud that everybody that works at Stone Glacier is pretty hardcore hunter.
Yeah,
everybody here gets after it. Which, I think you're seeing less and less of in today's
You know what else
industry.
I'm glad is you didn't say big hunter. You said hardcore. But Tyler, I can't tell you how many podcast episodes we've been on when somebody says, "Yeah, he's a big hunter." We make kind of like the fat guy thing with our hands and laugh about it, silently.
Well, so say you're gonna be dumb, you got to be tough.
That's right. That's right. Hardcore hunters. No, that's good stuff, dude. So earlier you mentioned a lot of times on these mountaineering style hunts or whatever, it's a one time in, one time out kind of thing. It's not a going in and grabbing loads and coming back or whatever. So part of that is being able to make sure that you can haul all your meat and then have the bag part of your pack contain all your stuff. So how much room do you need for a hunt like that in your bag?
Yeah, so as far as picking a bag, picking a pack, things to consider would be the duration of your hunt, how long you're going to be out there, and a lot of personal preference on zipper and pocket configuration. Mm-hmm. So I'm a big fan of our Sky Talus 6900. So that's a large backpack, 6,900 cubic inches. That's a big backpack.
Yeah.
So it's appropriate for the biggest trips I go on. It also has the added versatility of the lid being able to come off and the main bag folding up and converting down into a smaller configuration. Mm-hmm. So whether I'm going out for the day or just going out for a night or two, I'll probably run it in that smaller, what we call bivvy mode. And then if I've got an extended week-long elk or sheep hunt, I can throw the lid on it, stand the main bag up tall, and make it work for me. But, on average, if our most popular Western style bag option is our Sky 5900. So that's our probably most commonly chosen bag for a guy that's doing, the biggest trip he might go on is a 5-6 day elk hunt. Mm-hmm. That 5900 is a real sweet spot. And it also has the ability to convert down into a great day pack without the lid as well. Mm-hmm. But when you start talking about a 7, 10, 14 day hunt, you need a really big bag. And the main thing that's changing between your gear list between a 5-day hunt and a 14-day hunt is food. Mm-hmm. We just have way more food. Average day of food is going to weigh, for me at least, 2 to 3 pounds. So you're talking about 30 pounds of food you're hauling on some of these hunts if you're out there for 2 weeks. So you kind of need the big bag, and then depending on what time of year you're hunting, these later season hunts, you're going to have more insulating layers and warm clothing. Whereas a September 1st elk hunt, you can get away with minimal amounts of clothing. Mm. So, couple variables there.
Yeah, for sure. How much, I guess, thought are you putting into your daily weight as opposed to how much food that gets you in calories and stuff? Are you just kind of packing what you need to eat, or do you really break it down?
I've gone both ways. I've not really, I've just hastily packed my food as I run out the door for a weekend hunt, and then I've meticulously planned every single day for a Dall sheep hunt before. So I've done both. My biggest problem in the backcountry is maintaining an appetite. Your stomach is going to shrink. You're not going to want to eat as much as you probably should. And this is different for everybody, but for me,
I think it's different for me. I get hungry.
I struggle to maintain an appetite. So I've gotten to the point where I'm going to take food that I'm excited to eat and I know I can stomach and put down. Smart. So I used to be, I used to not be as nice to myself, and I would pack just like nothing but Cliff Bars, and that's due to idolizing Kurt Roscoe, the founder of Stone Glacier. He won't even carry a stove because he doesn't want the added weight. So he's a big bar guy, and I've followed in his footsteps for a couple of years and just suffered through it. I can't eat a Cliff Bar to this day. I can't do it. Nothing against Cliff Bar. They make some great products, and I use some of their other stuff, but just taking stuff that I was excited to eat. So whether that was like cashews or chocolate, or, you know, switching it up from trying different brands besides just Mountain House, trying, you know, Backpackers Pantry, Alpinair, Heather's Choice, just mixing it up and having stuff that I knew I was going to be able to stomach.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I let that be the first kind of deciding factor when I'm packing my food before the weight.
Yeah.
If it weighs a couple ounces more and I know I'm going to eat it, I'll take it.
Yeah. I got you. If you're on you know, a little bit less intensive a hunt where you're still doing backpacking thing, but you have the option of coming back to the truck halfway through, would you do that to save that weight?
If you're saying if I've got a base camp to kind of ping pong out of?
Yeah, so like say you could go out and spike out for 3 or 4 days and then loop back to the truck and refuel and you know, maybe grab a good bite to eat there or something like that. Is that something you think about doing, or would you rather just stay back there for the 8-9 days?
No, there's a lot of hunts that is very appropriate to do. You know, that's typically like an elk hunt where you might go do a 3-day rip and then go regroup. Something like a sheep hunt or a goat hunt, you're probably going to stay up on the mountain until the hunt is concluded. But, you know, hunting mule deer, hunting antelope or elk or whatever you're doing, you know, I've certainly had plenty of hunts where we make our way back to the truck, resupply, and kind of regroup and get back out there.
Yeah. So I haven't noticed a lot of pockets on some of the bags that you guys offer. Is that, you know, I've been noticing it seems like more and more people are loving the simplicity of a bag like that in many options. And for me, I'm semi-organized. I'm not like some neat freak or anything, but like, I look at packs and I'm like, man, there's nothing on that thing. I don't know where I put my matches or, you know, whatever. So how do you deal with that, or what does your system look like, I guess, inside the pack?
Sure. Yeah. You know, by design, almost all Stone Glacier packs are very streamlined. There's not a lot of bells and whistles to them. You know, our most full feature pack's probably that Sky Talus. And I say that just because it's got 2 side zip pockets and a 33-inch center zip. But besides that, most of our bags are very clean in design. So that's a couple reasons. Save weight. When you don't put a bunch of pockets and zippers everywhere, you're going to keep your weight down. And then it also allows the end user to kind of customize and organize their backpack with some of our accessory pouches. So from our swing out pockets to our camp pockets to accessory pockets and hydro holsters, you can kind of set up the pack how you want to run it. So I use a combination of camp pockets and swing out pockets to organize my first aid kit into a swing out pocket. I have a kill kit in a swing out pocket, which is my tags, knives, electrical tape, gloves, stuff like that. And then in a large camp pocket is kind of my catch-all for my toiletries, my headlamp, my toothbrush, toilet paper, all the little stuff I might want in the tent at night, things like that.
So for somebody who's from Texas that may not understand, explain what the swing outs and all that. What do those different pockets look like? What is the hydro or whatever you said or on that? You know, some of these guys don't understand that lingo very well.
That'd
you know
be
what I mean?
me. That's the guy I'm talking about.
So just referring to some of the accessories we make here at Stone Glacier for our backpacks. Swing out pocket is about 100 cubic inch, semi-transparent white nylon pocket. It's just an organizational pouch with a zipper on it. The camp pocket is the big brother to that. It's about 350 cubic inches, semi-transparent white nylon pocket with a horseshoe-shaped zipper at the top. Both just organizational pouches.
They just float around in there?
There's attachment points throughout the inside of the backpack.
Okay.
So those bags have 3/4 inch web-in stubs off of them, and throughout the inside of all of our backpacks, there are 3/4 inch tri-slides or attachment points.
Is that kind of like a Molly system, same kind of thing?
Yeah, not exactly molly webbing, but you can daisy chain these accessory pockets and achieve the same thing.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool.
And so depending on, just to touch on a couple other popular accessories that people might customize their pack with, depending on whether you drink out of a water bottle or a bladder, if you run an analogy with something called a hydro holster, that's going to put a water bottle kind of on your flank, quick access to it. If you drink out of a bladder, there's a hydro sleeve, which would house up to a 3-liter bladder inside your backpack, which you can route the hose through the hydro port after that. And then we make other things like rain covers, which are obviously a smart thing to have on extended hunts. Load cell dry bags, which we recommend using for packing boned out meat in the load shelf. Lots of other things to just kind of set the pack up exactly how you want it.
Yeah, sure. When talking about packing meat, that's what we all aspire to do, right? So, do you like to bone out your stuff and put it in a bag, or do you like to just take a quarter, stick it in a bag with a bone in it, and haul it?
Every situation's different.
Yeah.
I would say the average elk we pack out is usually bone-in quarters.
Yeah.
We're usually within 5 miles of a trailhead, and we'll just start. It's almost a timing thing. Boning an animal out is going to take you an extra hour. And in my mind, I'd rather just pony up the quarter and start working, start hauling a quarter out.
Yeah.
But the animal like a sheep or a goat in a really remote, rugged area, those are almost always boned out.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
Take the extra time to kind of, no sense in carrying something out that you don't have to.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, I've done a little bit of both. There's always a bag of meat, with an elk that is boned out, back straps and just hamburger meat or whatever.
Flank and rib and everything.
And it always seems like that thing just ends up in a big ball at the bottom of the backpack, and it's just super terrible to haul. Is there a way to kind of avoid that, or is there a way that like a load shelf can do that?
There is. When you load your load shelf, we recommend taking the bag off the frame and then laying the frame flat on the ground. The step after that that's important is to evenly distribute the meat vertically up and down the frame sheet. And then when the bag, your actual backpack bag, comes over the meat and becomes the compression panel against that bag of meat, anchoring it to the frame sheet, when you cinch it down into place, it's going to keep that meat locked to the frame vertically up and down, distributing it across your back.
Gotcha. Cool. Gotcha. It makes like a sausage up and down your back more than just a patty at the bottom. Yeah. That's cool. That's cool. So, whenever you're talking about, placing that on your back, do you want that weight distributed from like top of the pack down to your lumbar, or where should you try to make the bulk of the weight sit?
So, properly fitted backpack is going to have the belt anchored on the tips of your hip bone and holding most of the weight. The other important step is to have your shoulder straps making good, constant, even contact across the top and back of your shoulder. But the split, we kind of talk about like an 80-20. You want 80% of the weight locked onto your hips and 20% on your shoulders. Now, that being said, there's a lot of personal preference in that division of weight. And the first mile often feels a lot different than the seventh. Yeah. So I might start like that, but then 5 miles in, be like, man, I just want to get some of this shifted up higher up onto my shoulders. So I might loosen my belt slightly and pull on my load lifters a little bit and transfer the weight up to my shoulders just to give myself a break. But everybody's a little different on that.
Yeah. What if you don't have hips? What do you do then? I'm straight up just
cinch the belt as tight as you can.
Yeah, okay.
So what about your sleeping situation? Like, I'm interested in what that looks like for you on a some kind of extended backcountry expedition that you might make, and then also interested in how that packs into your pack.
Sure. So I use a 15-degree sleeping bag for almost everything I do. So our Chilkoot 15-degree sleeping bag is about a 2-pound setup, and that goes with me everywhere. That is often the first thing in my backpack. I'll put that down at the bottom. And then with that, I'll have my sleeping pad, which I have a number of. So I've got a closet full of sleeping pads, but the one I most often use is I've got an REI one I use a lot. I've got X pad, EXPED or something like that. And I use those two the most. There's really popular ones out there. There's Neo Airs and stuff like that. They're kind of crinkly when you lay on them. And sleeping is really important in the backcountry. If you're not going to sleep, you're not going to be able to do much the next day, and you're just going to be dragging ass and constantly falling behind. So sleeping is really important. So I have an inflatable pillow, my Thermarest, that goes with me everywhere. That is a absolute lifesaver. Gone are the days of trying to like sleep on a balled up coat.
Yeah.
And that actually makes that pillow alone is probably the hottest tip I can give you as far as sleeping in the backcountry.
Nice.
That pillow is a lifesaver.
Yeah.
And then, so that's my sleeping bag is the Chilkoot 15 degree, and that goes into the bottom of my backpack with my pillow and my sleeping pad. The reason I use a 15 degree even in colder weather hunts is because I sleep in my clothes almost always.
Me too. I thought I was a weirdo.
Sleeping in a nice down bag is actually a bit of like a convection oven. You can dry your clothes off.
Yeah.
So if you're kind of wet and you crawl up in a sleeping bag for a couple hours, you dry off.
Cool.
So
I've heard guys doing that. Like, what's the extent of how that works? Like, if you just get caught in a monsoon on September 12th, like, is it still a good idea?
It is. Yeah, I'm not kidding you. I was caribou hunting in the Alaska Range last August and just got pummeled by rain. And, I've got rain gear on, but I'm sweating and packing, getting a caribou back to an airstrip by myself. It was a multi-day thing. And I was just a mess. I mean, soaked to the bone. And I curled up in my sleeping bag and dried off. My sleeping bag got a little damp throughout that just because it's sucking the moisture off of me. But from a survival standpoint, I think it's a very smart thing to do.
Man, that sounds so uncomfortable. Sounds like the worst thing that I could do in the backcountry. But, I mean, if it works, I understand. And I definitely would probably try it if I was in that situation. But, I just want to throw up thinking about it.
Well, on that note, do you bring, like, rain gear on a backcountry kind of hunt, or is that something you just kind of deal with?
Yeah, absolutely. Rain gear's always with me, even in a day pack setup.
Yeah.
That's one of those things that's almost never comes out of my backpack. So yeah, rain pants and raincoat are always in my system.
Is that like cheap Frog Togs, or is that something really expensive, or what are we looking at?
I've got quite a few different brands. I've been kind of running some samples of some Stone Glacier products we're working on that we're excited to introduce everybody to next year. So we got a couple irons in the fire on that front.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Well.
So that and the combination of Gators, using Gators and wet grass or loose rock or whatever, or post holing through snow. Gators are pretty mandatory on those hunts.
Yeah. Gotcha. So Gators are a thing I've used a little bit, and I don't know. I thought they looked cool, so I got them, and they did look cool. I looked like a elk hunting champion in them, But like,
that's right.
I don't know if I really got a ton of benefit from them, and maybe is it just really situationally dependent on when a gator actually is helpful, or is it one of those things where like you wear it and then one day you're out there and man, it was really life-saving kind of thing?
Yeah, if they're not on my calves, they're usually strapped to the bottom of my backpack. I'll always have them with me.
Yeah.
If you're going to encounter any kind of snow of any depth, they're a lifesaver.
Gotcha.
And then even just like a simple rain shower, all the branches and leaves and grass. If you don't have a gator on, you go walking through a meadow, the lower half of your leg is just drenched. So I've always got them with me, and more often than not, have them on.
Yeah. So speaking of that, are you like a boots guy, or do you wear trail runners, or what's your setup on your feet look like?
I'm a leather boot guy.
Gotcha.
For my days working at Schnee's, I kind of bought into the 8-inch stiff leather boot, and I still wear them to this day. A lot of good boot companies out there. Everybody's got different feet, and everybody's looking for something, maybe weight's important to you, or height or stiffness. Personally, I like a taller, stiff boot. It makes side hilling a lot easier, towing in to gain elevation a lot easier. have a mild insulation on my boots. I almost always run about 200 grams of insulation in boots. Yeah, but keeping your feet comfortable, boots are so important. I mean, right after having a comfortable backpack, I think boots are the second most important thing.
Yeah.
Because if your feet are going to get tore up, you're going to have a really bad time out there.
Right. What about trekking poles?
Yeah, I use them. It's like 4-wheel drive. They're most beneficial, I think, when you're packing a lot of weight. If I've got 80 pounds of elk meat on my back, man, I gain so much confidence and stability from having trekking poles out. It's something I didn't used to use, and now I don't go anywhere without them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is that like, is there any particular details about a trekking pole that you prefer over others?
Yeah, I like trekking poles that collapse, and you can break them down into smaller pieces and slap them onto the side of your pack and put them in your pack, and they're just kind of out of sight, out of mind. Mm-hmm. I like them to be very lightweight. There's some extremely lightweight trekking poles available today. It's a shame. They used to be this tool. You know, any mountain hunter out there probably knows about this thing, but there used to be a tool called a snowscopic, and it was a tool made by the brand Petzl. And the snowscopic was an ice axe with a telescoping trekking pole out of the bottom of it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So it was awesome. You could, as your trekking pole, you could level a camping site with it. If you needed to make a flat spot for your tent, you could dig for water with it. You could self-arrest if you slid off the mountain. It was just the most badass little mountain hunter tool, and they stopped making it.
That seems to happen a lot.
They're like the holy grail, you know, they're like a hidden gem. No, the people that have them aren't giving them up easily anymore.
Yeah. And it's funny how a lot of times you think products are expensive when they come out. Wait till they cancel them and then see where the price goes, right? People are real
limited edition.
Yeah, no kidding, man. No kidding. But, no, that's cool. I've never done the trekking pole thing, and I think definitely this year I'm going to – I have them with me. I don't know how much I guess it's just like anything else. You kind of need to kind of see how it fits to your system or whatever. And I'm still developing my system, So, I think that especially the heavy loads on your back, it's funny. We're flatlanders, right? And you'd think that like the hardest thing would be gaining elevation. But I think for me, the descent is so much harder than the ascent. It might not feel like it at the time, but it's a lot harder on your legs, and I think that those would really come in handy there.
Yeah, it's a real quad burner coming down. Downhill with weight on. You might not lose your breath. Going uphill, you're just constantly trying to catch your breath. You're not doing that going downhill, but your quads are going to light on fire.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's where mine were giving out going into the Black Canyon. It's just straight down. We definitely could have used them there. What about your water system? Is that going to be a bladder system or a Nalgene scenario?
Yeah, kind of a combination of the two. I don't personally like drinking out of a bladder. I don't like the mouthpiece and the hose and stuff.
It always tastes like plastic, man. I hate it.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah. And in any type of cold weather, which we get into real fast here in Montana, the hose freezes.
Yeah.
So it gets ruled out pretty quick to where you have to have a water bottle. Mm-hmm. But what I do carry are large bladders. I've got like a 6-liter MSR bladder that I'll use for hauling water. Mm-hmm. So I'll use bladder systems to carry a lot of water. Between my 2 Nalgenes and that bladder, I can haul like 8 liters to camp, mm-hmm. and then I'll have water at camp.
Does that bladder just sit in your pack on your bag and everything, or how does that?
Yeah, so it's usually empty. I've usually got it empty, and then when I get it full, I'll just haul it to camp, hang it off a tree, and then it just lives there.
Gotcha.
It's just kind of a backup.
Yeah. But, so are you a fan of like the you talk about hauling it back to camp. Are you a fan of what I guess you call bivvy style hunting, where you pack up everything that morning and head out, or do you like to kind of go out there, set up your camp, and then hunt on radiuses from there?
Yeah, I like being mobile and being able to move as I go. That being said, more often than not, I'm probably not taking my tent with me in the morning. I'm probably getting in, setting up my spike camp, leaving my tent in the morning, and returning to it at night, and then maybe moving every couple of days, but not every night.
Yeah.
When you talk about bivvy hunting, that is what when I hear that term, I think of sleeping in a bivvy sack. So not having a tent with you, but a bivvy system to go over your sleeping bag. I'm too claustrophobic for that stuff. I've never been a bivvy guy. I never will be. Tents are lightweight enough. I'm just not a bivvy guy. So yeah, the three types of camps, I guess you got the bivvy camp, which I'm not doing, spike camp, which I'm taking my 4-season tent, setting it up in the backcountry and returning to it every evening, and moving every couple of days, and then like a base camp style hunt where you might have the comforts of a truck nearby, and you can come in and out of there and resupply real easily and live very comfortably. Something like that.
It's good terminology. It's stuff that we're not exposed to all the time. When we talk hunting, we talk about tree stands and pinch points and all these different things in the whitetail woods, and we don't get to talk about bivvy camp and what that actually means. So it's good to know for us. What's your first aid kit look like?
Yeah, Adventure Medical Kit is the company who made it. I have since kind of customized it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So, honestly, I'm prepared for more catastrophic injuries, in the sense that I've got some supplies for that. But the most common thing I need out there is often like Band-Aids. Like I could cut my hands and stuff like that. So the most common thing I'm reaching into that first aid kit for is Band-Aids. So I carry a lot of Band-Aids.
Gotcha.
But I've also carried a small bag of Quick Clot.
Mm-hmm.
If I was to have some kind of gnarly compound fracture, falling off a cliff or something.
Ooh.
And then probably the most important thing I carry as far as safety is my DeLorme InReach, which is a SOS button. So being able to call a helicopter in if things go really awry is some nice peace of mind to have.
Yeah. No, this might be kind of intricate, and if you don't really know, it's fine. But on those Band-Aids, like Band-Aids just fall off like real easy, right? Like I do construction for a living. It isn't even worth putting one on, right? Have you found like a system, or are you making your own like with Leukotape or something, or how are you keeping a Band-Aid on your finger or on your hand or elbow or whatever happens?
Yeah, I guess most of the times I'm just like fixing up my fingers after banging them around. So you get the full wrap out of the Band-Aid. They're often staying on.
Yeah,
but yeah, I agree with you. It can be a battle.
Definitely. So, favorite mountain house meal?
Ooh, that's a good question. I like the simple ones, like the mac and cheese. I can just put down over and over again. It's high in calories and it tastes good and it's easy to eat. I'm also a big fan of the chicken breasts and mashed potatoes, which is just really simple. It's 2 grilled chicken breasts and instant mashed potatoes, and it just kind of feels like you're eating at a diner or something.
Yeah.
Not crazy about the rice ones. I don't really eat those.
Yeah.
Lasagna, Mountain House lasagna. Shout out to my lasagna. I love it. It used to be Mountain House lasagna has got a bad rap, man. They used to make it with this cheese that stuck to your fork, like it was the end of the world. And people complained about it a lot. It was like people were like, "Yeah, I like the lasagna, but the damn cheese sticks to my fork." And I, ironically enough, liked it. I didn't have anything else to do, sitting around camp. I just chew the cheese off my fork, pick it off of there, and I liked it.
Yeah,
they have since changed it. The cheese they're using in Mountain House lasagna today is different. It does not stick to your fork anymore. So that might be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on what you like. But flavor's the same.
That's funny. Does it bug you to not? Okay, so back to the mac and cheese one. Does it bug you to not have meat in the meal?
No, not necessarily. I mean, I don't have to have meat every single meal, but I do try to integrate it, every other day at the very least.
Yeah.
Something I carry out, almost always have jerky with me.
Yeah.
It's part of jerky or snack sticks or pepper sticks or anything like that. So I guess I'm getting meat throughout the day from stuff like that.
Yeah. Pete, you've given us a lot of good information, man. But I was going to see if you had one just like primo tip for just making backcountry life better.
Yeah, kind of already touched on it, but I'll re-highlight taking food that you're going to be excited to eat. Those are the small victories throughout the day, being excited about your snacks and keeping yourself well fed, and then making sure you're comfortable at night and sleeping well. And I do that. My pillow, I give my pillow so much credit. I slept on, an empty backpack or balled up clothing for so long. Your neck gets in a weird place and you don't sleep well. And so, sleep well and eat well. Take care of your feet. If you think you're getting a blister, take care of it. Nurse it. Don't ignore it.
Yeah.
But just being prepared mentally and physically, you're not going to get in that position if your boots are already broken and if you're already conditioned for the hunt and ready to go. So just be prepared for it.
Yeah, that
cool.
makes sense. Eat well and sleep well. I kind of try to live by that. So there's no reason why I don't carry that into the backcountry too, right? And
right.
I have Thermarest pillow written down in my notes now.
Yes,
so
sir.
You've been raving about that thing. I'm going to check it out. But
there you go.
Yeah, dude, you talked about how the goat hunt changed your life, and I believe it because you are the founder of the Goat Alliance. Is that correct?
That's right.
Yeah, is the Goat Alliance the proper term? Or is it Rocky Mountain Goat Alliance, or what's the?
Rocky Mountain Goat Alliance, RMGA.
I gotcha. Okay, so what's RMGA doing for goats, man?
Yeah, RMGA is the only wildlife conservation organization focused on North America's mountain goats. So we started in 2013, I believe, and just kind of grew out of my personal passion for those wild animals and their wild places they lived. And I'm a proud member and strong supporter of the Wild Sheep Foundation. And I quickly learned that there just wasn't a counterpart for the mountain goat. So it kind of started as a very grassroots beginning with orchestrating backcountry volunteer projects to assist regional biologists with population counts, which are then used for making management decisions on how many tags should be in an area or not be in an area. And now today the organization is quite large and fruitful, and we do everything from fund helicopter time to PhD students field work and everything in between. So we still stay true to our roots and host backcountry volunteer projects across North America every summer. But the organization has definitely matured, and we're fortunate to be able to financially back research and relocation projects, helicopter time, grad student work, field research, and everything in between. So we got a lot going on.
That's cool, man. And honestly, if I hadn't found Goat Alliance on Instagram, I would have never known that the Sheep Foundation didn't encompass goats. Like, I know that probably sounds so, like, amateur of me or whatever, but, like, it just seems like it would be one and the same, right? And I understand why it's not now, but, like, before I was like, oh, goats are good, like, they got them. You know what I'm saying?
I'll give credit where credit is due. The Wild Sheep Foundation is our most valued affiliate in the world of conservation. Their mission is for the conservation of the 4 species of wild sheep in North America, and mountain goat does not fall under that.
Yeah.
But they do see a tremendous amount of value in us as we do them, and proud to call them a close partner.
So how's the goat doing across the landscape, man?
Mountain goat's doing well. We have roughly 100,000 mountain goats in North America. Roughly half of those living in British Columbia. Mm-hmm. Mountain goat is doing well on a continental scale. There are some smaller battles being fought in some isolated populations like western Montana. A lot of our native populations are not doing great and declining in kind of a mysterious way. And then on the flip side, you have areas that have so many mountain goats like Kodiak Island that they're encouraging the harvest of females. So kind of a diverse spread of of the mountain goats battle and story right now. But across the continent, we're doing well, and I believe the Rocky Mountain Goat Alliance is doing good work and going to ensure the future of that species for generations ahead of us to enjoy.
Yeah, that's cool, bro.
Awesome.
So if somebody wants to enjoy the hunt for a mountain goat, I know you probably get asked this a lot, but just what's your best shot? Is it to just pony up the money and go buy a tag up north somewhere, or should you play the points game?
You know, I would play the points game. I certainly would have my name in the hat, and I do have my name in the hat in several western states.
Yeah.
That being said, if you don't want to wait, you want to go mountain goat hunting, there are plenty of affordable options throughout Alaska. British Columbia is going to be a little bit higher premium of cost, and that's because the goats are bigger. But places like Kodiak Island offers tremendous hunting opportunity. You don't have, part of that island you have to draw the tag, part of it you don't. So
the name Kodiak also goes with a bear that would probably wig me out real hard. So I don't know. All joking aside, the bear country thing would be, that's talk about a whole nother consideration that we never have to worry about. There's a reason I never hunted north of Colorado, and it's probably bears. So no, but that's cool, man. That's great. So Pete, you're a guy who lives it, does it. You make your living from outdoor stuff, so we'd like to give you an opportunity to tell us, where can people find out more about Stone Glacier and all the cool products y'all have going on, man?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find us on every social media platform and stoneglacier.com. If you guys got any questions about gear, backcountry hunting, technical use of our stuff, please do not hesitate to contact us. We're based in Bozeman, Montana, and we can be reached right here at our shop, 406-404-0641, or just info at stoneglacier.com.
Dang, dude dropped the phone number, man. That's next level ready for some customer
He ain't
support.
scared.
That's right. He said, bring it on. That's awesome, dude. Well, we'll be sure and link to all that below, both the Goat Alliance and the Stone Glacier stuff. Looking forward to seeing some of that new, more apparel kind of stuff that you were talking about, man. And that'll be kind of neat. It's kind of cool to see another player kind of enter the game on that stuff. Anyways, Pete, thanks so much, dude. It's been great. It's cool to talk to somebody who's kind of a younger guy like us and you've been getting after it for a while. Like you said, you were 22 and had a goat mounted. Golly, man, I was 22. It wasn't that, that's for sure.
Chasing hogs around at 22.
I know, man. That's cool, Pete. Well, hey, dude, thanks so much for spending some time with us, dude.
Yeah, thanks, guys, so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Sure.
Yeah, no problem, man. We'll talk to you later.
All right, see ya.
See ya. Man, that was some killer info. If you found this interview helpful, be sure and leave us a review below and comment what you thought was the most helpful tip from this episode.
For sure. Make sure you also follow us on our social media platforms, Facebook and Instagram, and also subscribe on YouTube so you can see how these hunts turn out.
Remember, this is your element.
Live in it. Been waiting my whole life for that.